Ah, federal compliance. Whether you put it off as long as you possibly could, or the opportunities in the federal marketplace are simply too tempting to resist, either way, you're here because you need answers. And perhaps one of the very first questions you have is, how much does FedRAMP assessments cost? Well, if you would like a plain English explanation of the costs associated with FedRAMP authorization and the top drivers affecting its price, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Now, we all know federal contracts and opportunities can be lucrative, and that's good news because demonstrating compliance is not cheap. And as you navigate through your needs and timeline, many of the options will be, well, complex or complicated, comprehensive, combustible. Well, hopefully not combustible, but a whole series of COM words you'd probably rather not deal with. So allow me to be compassionate and bottom line some price ranges for you. Now, we all know there's no easy way through compliance, and federal compliance projects will require meaningful contributions on both sides. To complete your FedRAMP journey from start to finish will require more than what is on the screen, and much of that effort will be supported through consultants and your internal processes. But when it's time for the assessors to show up, you can expect the professional fees to range from $230,000 to $275,000 for the initial assessment, then $165,000 to $200,000 for the annual assessments thereafter. Yeah, I know. That's a lot of commas. Now, there are several factors to determine the exact price. So to help with your understanding, let's focus on the two most important drivers affecting the price, that being the type and complexity of your FedRAMP assessment. Will your FedRAMP assessment be designed for authorization, or do you need only to be listed in the FedRAMP marketplace to be sponsored by a federal agency? If you're seeking the route of agency authorization, then a RAR or Ready Assessment Report will not be required. However, if your organization is hoping to be selected for Joint Authorization Board Provisional Authorization, then a RAR or Ready Assessment Report will be necessary. As with everything in life, the greater the complexity, the greater the level of effort, and federal compliance is no exception. Your organization can choose to be evaluated against a low impact baseline, a moderate impact baseline, or a high impact baseline, all of which will directly determine the minimum number of controls to be assessed. The most common baseline, the moderate impact baseline, includes at least 300 controls to be evaluated, and the moderate baseline is what was used in our professional estimates before. Now, if your cloud offering has DoD implications based on the users or the classification of the data you impact, your assessment will indeed have additional controls. It is important to note that subsequent updates, as determined by the FedRAMP PMO or Program Management Office, or to NIST Publication 853 itself, are not only routine, but will indeed impact the level of effort and professional fees associated with these assessments. Certainly, there are many other factors that can impact the complexity of your assessment, including the number of applications, number of systems, and deployment models, etc. So when you meet with your Schellman professional, their goal is going to be to work with your organization to determine the best project type based on your specific needs, evaluate the complexity of your scope, and help your organization determine the optimum timing for your assessment. This will all serve to help them establish the most cost-effective professional fee structure that is not only fixed, but reliable. Well, that's it. This is Ryan Buckner with Schellman. Click the button to contact a specialist and get started today.